Okay, next we have on slide 14 dorsal sounds. Remember, we have talked about three general large categories of sounds depending on the part, pretty much on the part of the vocal tract that is used, as well as the part of the tongue. The first set of sounds were labial sounds. Then we talked about coronal sounds, which are sounds involving the tip of the tongue. And now we're going to be talking about dorsal sounds, which are sounds involving the back of the tongue. Velar sounds are a subtype of dorsal sounds. Velar sounds are sounds involving the very back of the tongue and the very back of the hard palate, known as the velum. That's why they're called velar sounds. Velar, velar with a V. We have three velar sounds in English, and as you can see in this picture, it actually quite well represents exactly the place at which these three sounds are produced, namely K, G, and K, G, If we pay close attention to these three sounds, we see that K and G, K, G, K, G contrast in terms of voicing, whereas K, K is voiceless, G, G is voiced. On the other hand, is clearly voiced, and it's also nasal because the air is expelled out the nasal cavity. Is the sound used in ing endings such as going and watching. Okay, again, we have three velar sounds. K, G, On slide 15, we have words to practice these sounds. First, king. King. Notice how in this word we have both k and king. Kansas. Kansas. Example. Example. Notice how here we don't have a k or a g, yet it's pronounced g. Example. K. K. See how k might be spelled K, but also C, as in the word Kate, in which we have two k sounds. At the beginning, one which is aspirated because it's stronger, it's more plosive, and then one at the end which is not plosive. Listen carefully. Cake, cake, cake. Then we have curb, curb, spelled C. Gate, gate. Long, long. Notice how is normally used to pronounce NG groups of letters or clusters. Okay, long. Clog, clog. Here we have two velar sounds, K and G. Clog. A clog, it's like an obstruction. So you could have your veins clogged because you have too much fat, for example. Clog. Sing. Sing. Going. Going. Here we have G and Going. Finger. Finger. Now this word might be pronounced finger or finger. Finger, separating the and the g. They're both correct. Look at the note that says, notice that NG clusters are groups of two or more units, are normally pronounced except for contexts where N and G belong to two separate syllables, as in kangaroo, kangaroo. Notice here how we don't say kangaroo. We do not say kangaroo because n and g are very distant in terms of place of articulation. We will talk about this later, but what's happening here is that the n is becoming more like the g, and therefore n is turning into n, and therefore we say kangaroo, kangaroo. We pronounce both. The same happens in engineer, engineer, engineer. Also, like I just pointed out above, the X might be pronounced g, 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 z, as in example, exaggerated. In other words, like exuberant or exotic. On slide 16, we have sentences to practice these velar sounds. Listen and repeat. The king came to the concert riding a great carriage. Carriage, j, j, j. The king came to the concert riding a great carriage. The king came to the concert riding a great carriage. Greg and Kyle climbed, past tense, climbed the highest mountain in Korea. The highest mountain in Korea. Greg and Kyle climbed the highest mountain in Korea. Greg and Kyle climbed the highest mountain in Korea. On slide 17, we have sentences and rhymes to practice these velar sounds further. A proper cup of coffee. A proper cup of coffee. A proper cup of coffee from a copper coffee pot. A proper cup of coffee from a copper coffee pot. Copper, coffee, pot. A proper cup of coffee from a copper coffee pot. Next, a good cook could cook as much cookies as a good cook who could cook cookies. Again, a good cook could cook as much cookies as a good cook who could cook cookies. Notice how as much cookies is actually grammatically incorrect, but this is a rhyme and this is how it's written. I didn't make it up, so I know that it should be as many cookies. Okay? Again, a good cook could cook as much cookies as a good cook who could cook cookies. This one has to do with different uses of the word can, which is the actual tin container, a tin can, as well as a canner, who's the person who puts vegetables and other things in cans, and then can as the modal auxiliary. Okay, and they're pronounced the same. It goes like this. How many cans can a canner can if a canner can cans? A canner can as many cans as a canner can if a canner can cans. Again, how many cans can a canner can if a canner can cans? A canner can as many cans as a canner can if a canner can cans. Finally, the king would sing about a ring that would go ding. The king would sing about a ring that would go ding. Again, all The king would sing about a ring that would go ding. On slide 17, we have the final set of consonant sounds. These two are dorsal sounds because they involve the very back of the tongue, and they are called glottal sounds or glottal sounds. Glottal sounds. Sounds involving the glottis or the uvula, which is the very, very back of the throat. Okay? We have as in hospital, here, ham. You see how it's pronounced in the very back of the mouth. In the first picture, the picture on the left, you see the pronunciation of in the second picture, you see the pronunciation of you see that the air is being expelled out the mouth. In the first picture, the one on the left, what you see is the pronunciation of the second sound, which is represented with a symbol that looks sort of like a capital question mark. Okay? Such as in words like mountain or forgotten. Okay? Normally followed by an N. So it sounds like an N, but it's not N. It's See the difference? Okay, so we have two glottal sounds, which is clearly voiceless because there is no vibration of the vocal folds. And then we have which is voiced because there is vibration of the vocal folds. Okay, let's look at examples on slide 19. Obviously, is spelled H. Although sometimes many words have an H, but that H is not pronounced. It is silent, and we will look at examples of these later on. Okay, but most of the time, the H is pronounced. We have hotel, hotel, though in British English it's pronounced hotel. Okay, hotel, hate, hate, inhale, inhale, mountain, mountain, gotten, gotten, forbidden, forbidden. Okay, see how mountain, gotten, and forbidden are examples with just like r. Remember r in better and latter? They are variations of t and d. The exact same thing happens here. The sound is a variation of either t or d when it's preceded by a vowel and followed by n. Okay? Although we could say mountain and we could say gotten and forbidden, it's easier to say, at least for me, and it's the way it's pronounced in American English is mountain, mountain. It's like you swallow the sound. Mountain, gotten, forbidden. Okay. This note here, what it does is explain what I just explained, namely that is an allophone or a variation of t or do, and it also says that is normally used in the pronunciation of the past participle of regular verbs, such as gotten, forgotten. Okay? Now at this point, you're asked to come up with 5 examples with each sound. 5 examples with and 5 examples with What I want you to do is vary this exercise a little, and I want you to think of words that have an H and words that have a T or a D after a vowel before and see if the rule of pronouncing the H follows, because you will find some words in which the H is not pronounced, and also the pronunciation of and see what you find. Okay? Next, we're going to practice these glottal sounds by reading the following sentences. Listen first and then repeat. I've never forgotten how horrible it was to climb that mountain. I've never forgotten how horrible it was to climb that mountain. He says that this student isn't doing a good job here. He says that this student isn't doing a good job here. He says that this student isn't doing a good job here. We will continue on the next video.